Pygmalion. Let's find out what happens to Eliza, the flower girl who has come to learn about the speech and manners of a lady of high class so that she can be the owner of a flower shop rather than sell flowers at the corner of Tottenham Court Road in London. Would you like to go over any of it again? No, thank you. Not now. I am quite done up for this morning. Tired of listening to sounds? Yes, it is a fearful strain. What's the matter? A young woman wants to see you, sir. A young woman? What does she want? Has she an interesting accent? Oh, something dreadful, sir. Really. Let's have her up. Show her up, Mrs. Pierce. Very well, sir. It's for you to say. This is rather a bit of luck. I'll show you how I make records. This is the young woman, sir. The flower girl enters. She has a hat with 3 ostrich feathers, orange, sky blue and red. She has a nearly clean apron and the shoddy coat has been tidied a little. Why, this is the girl I jotted down last night. She's no use. Be off with you, I don't want to. Don't you be so saucy. You aren't heard what I come for yet. Well, I ain't come here to ask for any compliment. And if my money's not good enough, I can go elsewhere. Good enough for what? Good enough for learning. Now you know, don't you? I come to have lessons, I am. And to pay for them too. Make no mistake. Well, what do you expect me to say to you? Well, if you was a gentleman, you might ask me to sit down, I think. Pickering, shall we ask this baggage to sit down, or shall we throw her out? I won't be called a baggage when I have offered to pay like any lady. What is it you want, my girl? I want to be a lady in a flower shop, instead of selling at the corner of Tottenham Court Road. But they won't take me unless I can talk more genteel. He said he could teach me. Well, here I am ready to pay him, not asking any favor, and he treats me as if I was dirt. How can you be such a foolish, ignorant girl as to think you could afford to pay Mr. Higgins? Why shouldn't I? I know what lessons cost as well as you do, and I am ready to pay. Sit down. Sit down, girl. Do as you're told. What's your name? Eliza Doolittle. Wipe your eyes. To wipe any part of your face that feels moist. Remember, that's your handkerchief and that's your sleeve. Don't mistake the one for the other if you wish to become a lady in a shop. It's no use talking to her like that, Mr. Higgins. She doesn't understand you. Besides, you're quite wrong. She doesn't do it that way at all. Here, you give me that handkerchief. He gave it to me, not to you. He did. I think it must be regarded as her property, Mrs. Pierce. Serve you right, Mr. Higgins. Higgins, I am interested. What about the ambassador's garden party? I'll say you're the greatest teacher alive, if you make that good. I'll bet you all the expenses of the experiment you can't do it, and I'll pay for the lessons. Oh, you are real good. Thank you, Captain. It's almost irresistible. She's so horribly dirty. I ain't dirty. I washed my face and hands afore I come, I did. Never lose a chance. It doesn't come every day. I shall make a duchess of this draggle-tailed gutter snipe. Yes, in 6 months. We'll start today. Now, this moment. Take her away and clean her, Mrs. Pierce. Well, the matter is, sir, that you can't take up a girl like that, as if you were picking up a pebble on the beach. Why not? Why not? But you don't know anything about her. What about her parents? I ain't got no parents. They told me I was big enough to earn my own living and turned me out. Where's your mother? I ain't got no mother. Her that turned me out was my sixth stepmother, but I done without them, and I am a good girl, I am. Very well then, what on earth is this all fuss about? The girl doesn't belong to anybody, is no use to anybody but me. You can adopt her, Mrs. Pierce. I'm sure a daughter would be a great amusement to you. Now don't make any more fuss. Take her downstairs and... But what's to become of her? Is she to be paid anything? Do be sensible, sir. Oh, pay her whatever is necessary. Put it down in the housekeeping book. Does it occur to you, Higgins, that the girl has some feelings? Oh no, I don't think so. Not any feelings that we need bother about. Have you, Eliza? I got my feelings same as anyone else. You see the difficulty? What difficulty? To get her to talk grammar. The mere pronunciation is easy enough. I don't want to talk grammar. I want to talk like a lady. Will you please keep to the point, Mr. Higgins? I want to know what on terms the girl is to be here. Is she to have any wages? And what is to become of her when you have finished your teaching? You must look ahead a little. What's to become of her if I leave her in the gutter? Tell me that, Mrs. Pierce. How do I know what might be in them? Eliza, listen, I think you said you came in a taxi. Well, I've as good a right to take a taxi as anyone else. You have, Eliza, and in future you shall have as many taxis as you want. You shall go up and down and round the town in a taxi every day. Think of that, Eliza. Mr. Higgins, you're tempting the girl. It's not right. No, I don't want no gold and no diamonds. I'm a good girl, I am. Excuse me, Higgins, but I really must interfere. Mrs. Pierce is quite right. If this girl is to put herself in your hands for 6 months for an experiment in teaching, she must understand thoroughly what she is doing. How can she? She is incapable of understanding anything. Besides, do any of us understand what we are doing? If we did, would we ever do it? Very clever, Higgins, but not sound sense. Miss Doolittle. Ooh. There. That's all you get out of Eliza. Ooh. No use explaining. Can I put it more plainly and fairly, Mrs. Pierce? I think you'd better let me speak to the girl properly in private. I don't know that I can take charge of her or consent to the arrangement at all. Come with me, Eliza. That's all right. Thank you, Mrs. Pierce. You don't understand the gentleman. Come with me. She leads the way to the door and holds it open for Eliza. Mrs. Pierce shuts the door and Eliza's plaints are no longer audible. Pickering comes from the hearth to the chair and sits astride it with his arms on the back. Mrs. Pierce opens the door. She has Eliza's hat in her hand. Pickering retires to the easy chair at the hearth and sits down. Well, Mrs. Pierce, is it all right? I just wish to trouble you with a word, if I may, Mr. Higgins. Yes, certainly. Come in. No, sir. Might she use some of those Japanese dresses you brought from abroad? I really can't put her back into her old things. Certainly. Anything you like. Is that all? Thank you, sir. That's all. If you please, sir, the trouble's beginning already. There's a dustman downstairs, Alfred Doolittle, who wants to see you. He says you have his daughter here. Send him up. Oh, very well, sir. I'm afraid we shall have some trouble with him. Oh, no, I think not. We are sure to get something interesting out of him. About the girl? No, I mean his dialect. Oh, Doolittle, sir. Professor Higgins. Here, good morning. Sit down. Morning, Governor. I come about a very serious matter, Governor. I want my daughter. That's what I want, see? Of course you do. You're her father, aren't you? You don't suppose anyone else wants her, do you? I am glad to see you have some spark of family feeling left. She's upstairs. Take her away at once. What? Take her away. Do you suppose I'm going to keep your daughter for you? Now, look here, Governor. The girl belongs to me. You got her. Where do I come in? Your daughter had the audacity to come to my house and ask me to teach her how to speak properly so that she could get a place in a flower shop. How dare you come here and attempt to blackmail me? You sent her here on purpose. No, Governor, you must have. How else could you possibly know that she is here? Don't take a man up like that, Governor. The police shall take you up. This is a plan. This is a plan. A plot to extort money by threats. I shall telephone for the police. Have I asked you for a brass parting? I leave it to the gentleman here. Have I said a word about money? Then how did you know she was here? I am wanting to tell you. I am waiting to tell you. How did you know the girl was here if you didn't send her? It was like this, Governor. The girl took a boy in the taxi to give him a jaunt. Son of her landlady he is. She sent him back for her luggage when she heard you was willing for her to stop here. I met the boy at the corner of Longacre and Angel Street. He told me what was up. Why didn't you go for it yourself? Landlady wouldn't have trusted me with it, Governor. She's that kind of woman, you know. I had to give the boy a penny afore he trusted me with it. The little swine. I brought it to her just to oblige you like me, and make myself agreeable. That's all. So you came to rescue her. Have I said a word about taking her away? Have I now? You're going to take her away double quick. No, Governor, don't say that. I am not the man to stand in my girl's light. Here's a career opening for her, as you might say. And, Mrs. Pierce, this is Eliza's father. He has come to take her away. Give her to him. No, this is a misunderstanding. Listen here. He can't take her away, Mr. Higgins. How can he? You told me to burn her clothes. You have put it to me that you want your daughter. Take your daughter. I only want my dues. Say £5. Here you are. Take £5. Thank you, Governor. Good morning. He hurries at the door, anxious to get away, leaving his daughter. When he opens it, he is confronted with a dainty and exquisitely clean young Japanese lady in a simple blue cotton kimono printed with small white jasmine blossoms. Mrs. Pierce is with her. He gets out of her way deferentially and apologizes. Beg pardon, miss. Gone. Don't you know your own daughter? Blimey, it's Eliza. What's that? This? By